Welcome back to CNA Plus, our special segment featuring the other projects our colleagues are working on. Well, COVID-19 has hit large economies hard and developing economies even harder. Already struggling with poverty, unemployment, and food shortages, 90 countries have asked for a bailout from the International Monetary Fund.
Well, in some countries, the health emergency has begun to be overshadowed by the crippling economic and social impact of the lockdowns. And that's the focus of a new CNA documentary called Survival Developing Economies on the Frontline, which airs this Sunday, July 26. Well, for a sneak peek into this new feature, senior producer Shehzad Hameed Ahmad joins us this morning. And Shehzad, you started in filming in Pakistan, which is one of the worst affected nations in Asia. What did you investigate there?
So, Adam, we started in Pakistan that has more than 250,000 COVID positive cases in the country, and it's increasing by the day. A big reason for this was the religious clerics who forced the lockdowns to be reopened, and the mosques were opened while the pandemic was moving ahead. And that led to an increase of cases. And as we know, this is a big country of 212 million people, and with limited resources, the government was unable to lock down the country as the virus spread. So that was one of the focus of the Pakistan segment of the piece. And then the impact of the spread led to a shortage of protection kits for doctors at hospitals. And as per latest figures, 3,700 doctors themselves have been impacted by the virus and 70 have died. So the people who are supposed to protect Pakistanis are themselves being impacted by the virus. And finally, in the Pakistan segment, we looked at possible solutions. So 50 million children in the country did not have access to schooling, and this worldwide was the biggest school closure after World War II. So we filmed with the Punjab Information Technology Board that came up with an app called Taaleem Ghar, which literally translates to home education, which was uploading lectures for students so they can continue their education at home. And this app was also being translated into cable television, where children can watch school lectures on TV. So we were looking at the impact of this virus, not just on the health sector, but on the education sector as well.
Indeed. And Shehzad, we understand that Bangladesh was another country featured in your documentary. What did you discover there?
Well, the second half focuses on the textile sector and the economy that was impacted. And in Bangladesh, 4.1 million workers are employed in the textile manufacturing sector. And as we know, the demand for Bangladeshi apparel worldwide fell. And the factories in Bangladesh were in debt of more than $3 billion US. So a lot of these workers, 65% of which were women, were left without jobs. And there was a huge impact, and there was a shadow pandemic that was a consequence of this, that when there was financial distress, as per United Nations Women, there was a rise in domestic violence. So that was the focus of the Bangladesh segment, and we tried to find solutions for it by embedding with a national helpline formed by the Bangladesh government to help women cope up with domestic violence and provide them with shelters. So that was the focus of the Bangladesh piece.
And Shehzad, just quickly before we go, you also covered a story on migrant workers and the plight of them, particularly in the Philippines, and I know in a country that has a higher case count per day than Indonesia.
Philippines is struggling pretty bad. 700,000 seafarers were left unemployed. Many of them have not been able to come back. Many suicides have been reported on board vessels, and these people are stuck in all parts of the world, and the Philippines government is unable to bring them back because of travel restrictions. And the final segment in the Philippines focused on jails. We got unprecedented access to jails, where Philippines has one of the highest jail occupancy rates in the world. And we went into this jail where the capacity was for only 1,000 inmates, and they had 3,000. So social distancing is pretty difficult in such situations. So we went inside to understand the plight of these inmates as well.
All right, Shehzad, thank you very much for being on our show and sharing that with us. And of course, you can catch Survival on Sunday. That's July 26th at 9 p.m. on CNA, or you can catch it a day after telecast on video on demand at CNA8.Asia or on MeWatch.